Hello, I'm Pamela Davis. Welcome to episode 69 of the Well Done Life podcast. Hello, and welcome back to episode 69 of the Well Done Life podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Davis. If you're new here, hey, welcome. I'm so excited that you're joining us this week. I hope you stay a while. If you've been here before, you can know what it is. You know, I love you guys. I appreciate the support and best that you continue to listen to me. I know that there are a lot of amazing voices out here, and I just appreciate having an opportunity to be along some of your favorites. So thank you. Before we get started, I always like to make sure I kind of set the tone, let everybody know why we're here so we can all make sure we're on the same page. So this is your exit right now, your opportunity if you want to get out, but hopefully you don't and you'll stay. The Well Done Life podcast is a podcast set up for women. This podcast is about women coming together, sharing our stories so that we can learn and grow together. I will say it all the time. I really believe women are the foundation of society. And when we have spaces where we can share our truths, our experiences, the good and the bad, we create opportunities where we can pour into another woman and another woman can pour into us because we find strength in each other when we share, when we grow, when we learn, and we can do amazing things. So I am looking at this space as being an opportunity for us to do some amazing things. So thank you for joining us. And I hope that, as I mentioned, that you stay and enjoy the party for a while. So now that we've kind of cleared the air, everybody knows, and you've decided to stick around, which is awesome. I always also like to make sure that I start out with love. I really believe that we need more love in the world. And also, I just think that it just creates a space again where we have this opportunity to know that this isn't about judgment. This is about learning and growing. So I want to make sure that I'm sending each of you this week prayers of positivity, prayers of joy. I want you just to have the opportunity for immense joy and prioritize that for yourself, as well as gentleness. I'm just wishing all the great things for each of you, especially as we're going into a holiday week. By the time you're listening to this, it'll be Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, or all the mothers who are acting as fathers, because I do understand, circumstances sometimes will require that a woman do multiple things. But it also can be a very triggering point for some of us who don't have our dads or we don't have good relationships with our dads. So I want to make sure that I'm sending an extra dose of love and prayers to you this week because I know it's hard. I've spoken about my dad so many times and it gets more tolerable, I like to say, now that he's been gone, but I miss him infinitely. So I am sending each of you love. I am recording this on Wednesday night. I'm looking at my phone because I do not know what day of the week it is. It is Wednesday, June 16th, and it is approximately 9:13. And I am recording in advance because I know that Sunday is always a tricky day on Father's Day. So I just kind of want to be able to give myself a little bit of grace going into that holiday so that I can make sure my spirit and energy is good. And I'm also really excited because I had an amazing conversation that I want to share with you. So we're going to get into that in a moment. But again, sending you all good prayers, lots of juju. Be safe out in the streets. The world is opening and moving. I always give the same spiel. Just, be cautious. Make sure you're protecting yourself, protecting not just your energy, but your health. Giving yourself space to be gentle where, you're not trying to rush back into the way the old world was. Remember, we were rushing and rushing and rushing, and we weren't always prioritizing our health mentally and physically. Take this time to remember the lessons that we learned from sitting down and apply them as you're going out back into the world again. Because I'm not trying to deny anybody a hot girl summer. I plan on trying to have one myself. But at the same time, I also know I do like having time at a slower pace to make sure that I'm feeding into myself physically, as well as giving myself grace mentally when I'm not ready to jump out and do all the things. So just please remember to be graceful with everyone. But like I said, I have a guest this week. I'm very excited about introducing her to the podcast. So we are going to have a really great conversation about her story, how she gets started, and how we actually met in the most unusual way. Well, not really. It just was different how she wound up being on the podcast, because she was a follower and she connected with me. And then all of a sudden she said, I want to be on your show one day. And I said, okay, well, why don't we talk about how we can make that happen? So we wound up having a conversation, and that conversation led to this conversation, because we have a lot of similarities in our stories in regards to how our fathers were such influences in our lives. And she is an amazing young woman. So I definitely want to, again, share this story because she is in the midst of grief. Bless her for being so open and being willing to share her journey with us at this point. So sending all love and grace and getting ready to introduce you to Miss Stephanie Rolon. So in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you will be hearing her now. Welcome, Stephanie. How are you?
Very good, and you? Thank you for having me in your podcast.
I'm very excited about having you here. We kind of connected in an unusual way.
I
know. It's amazing how Instagram is like the major connector of all things. Mm-hmm. And you just one day said to me, you would like to be on my podcast. So I said, okay, let's talk about that. Because I kind of felt led, like, let's see where this goes. So I thank you for accepting my invitation.
I thank you.
So
thank you.
You're very welcome. So before we kind of dive into it, it's Father's Day. There's so many good things I want to talk about. I want our audience to kind of learn more about you. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Yeah, sure. So I'm going to make it kind of short. Let me see if I can do it. So back in 2018, I moved. I'm originally from Puerto Rico. So I moved from Puerto Rico to pursue my master's in Orlando, in Full Sail University. I don't know if you're familiar with the university. I studied my master's there in entertainment business. I come from a background in public relations. So I always wanted to know more about the entertainment industry and how it works. And for me, I think the U.S. has more opportunities in terms of job growth and careers in that particular field. So I moved by myself to the U.S. I left what I consider my comfort zone, which was my house and my parents, everything, just to start a new life. Because even though in Puerto Rico I did have some connections that I've been working right now, like literally in the communications industry, I did not want that. I wanted to create my own path, my own dreams, not because yes, it's good when people help you, but I wanted to create something that I can say that it's mine, because it's my hard work. And that's the reason that I moved to the U.S. and landed first in Orlando. And once I finished my master's degree, I always wanted to work in Miami, Florida, because I think Miami is a very diverse cultural city and also good for job growth. So I applied for a company and I got hired I'm currently working as a social media. That's one of the advantages that the degrees in social gives you. Like you learn from so many different things, and the classes are like focus on some many different topics like marketing, like project management, that you are able to have that as your experience in your resume. So I've been working in a telecommunications company. I do a social media since I moved from Orlando, and just the journey has not been easy at all, but life is like that. You're never going to be comfortable in life. You will need to learn how to be uncomfortable and learn from the setbacks. And I thought in my life that when I first moved to the United States, like, my destination where I'm going to be like happy. When I achieve this company, and that's not what it's all about. You need to enjoy the journey, and not only to enjoy, but to embrace everything that happens during the journey, so you can then go to that destination. But the destination is not where success starts. Success is everything that you overcome or what makes you happy. I don't know, and if you can resonate or if you understand what I'm saying.
I do understand. It sounds like you really took a major risk. You took a chance on yourself. And I think that that's one of the most important things. And I talk about that a lot, especially now lately, because I think that we're all kind of going through these cycles of trying to figure out who we are. And for you to be so young and to take that chance on yourself, that's very brave. And I think that's wonderful. So no, the journey is not easy. And, it's always going to be challenging, but I see a strength in you. And I think part of that strength kind of comes from your dad. And so I kind of want to hear now, you left home at that point in time, on your own. How was your dad still alive at that point?
So when I told my parents that I was going to move, particularly my dad, like, Dad, I'm going to go continue my studies. I'm going to go to the U.S. And he told me this were his exact words. He was like, okay, perfect. Go. I'm not going to stop you. So, that's awesome. Okay. I never thought that he was going to be like, okay, so like letting me, his young daughter, just go and adventure by herself in the U.S. He led me, and he in fact was the one who took me to the airport. And I remember that when I came here, I had only in my pocket $200 to survive. And he told, and I now I understand why he actually let me, because maybe I needed to learn, and I'm continuing learning because you're never going to stop learning in life. But I needed to mature. I needed to learn to value, in part, everything that he did for not only me, but for my family, and to value the important things in life. So now I understand why he actually let me go, so I can treasure the important things and to mature and to. He wanted me to become the best version of myself. Now I'm doing that not only for him, but for myself in first place. And it all started when I took the chance to come to the U.S.
I think that's awesome. And a lot of times our dads know more than we do. My dad always used to try to tell me to step more into my purpose and who I was. And I always was a little too comfortable, a little too hesitant. He let me be for a while, but I agree. Like, your dad came to the same point that I think my father did with me back then. You have to get to a point where you step in. You have to take a chance and you have to bet on yourself. So I'm glad that he was still alive during that time to see you be able to take that chance. Now, I know from our previous conversation before the episode started that your father passed away. And with his passing, how do you allow that? How do you channel that energy to keep you going? Because grief is so hard,
When the pandemic hit the U.S., I was here in the States, of course, living in Miami. And I spent the whole pandemic. Thankfully, I had a job, but I spent it alone, like no family. My family was here in Puerto Rico, and my dad, he was still alive during that time. He was always telling me, "No, you're gonna keep going. You don't need to come back because of the pandemic. Because you're strong. You are." He always was encouraging me, like, "You're more stronger than you think. You're gonna continue. You're not gonna get in a plane and leave everything." So I stayed with the pandemic going on when everything was like, we didn't know what was going to happen, and being alone and not being able to see my family over a year. And then I received a call in October 2020, all of a sudden, that my dad had passed away unexpectedly. And for me, I feel like it was, yes, I processed his death, but that call was just so surreal. Like, you just like, I can't believe it. Still, like, it is true, because now I understand, like, even though I don't believe it's kind of like true, that call in October 2020. I still now understand him in a way. I don't know if he knew he was going to pass or not, but in a way he prepared me with every advice, even though I did not saw him during that year of the pandemic here in the U.S. Our communication and everything grew very strong over phone, and we talked every day. And every day he was like telling me advice and encouraging me to keep going, to continue. So in a sense, even though I didn't saw my dad, the last time I actually physically saw him in hospital was in April 2019. I felt relief because my dad saw, I guess, the daughter that he wanted for me to become. He was proud of what I have done in my almost 40 years in the U.S. I'm not going to continue to learn and to continue to grow, but in those 4 years, he saw a very different person than the one that left Puerto Rico. Immature, shy, like dumping herself. Even though he was not able to be here with me, he saw that. And I made him proud, even though we were in a long distance situation. And right. His dad, for me, he was a person. He has a story also. So how I channel everything is my dad, when he first moved to the United States, he moved more younger than me at 18 years old, and back in the 70s. He also was alone. He went to New York. He started working as a delivery guy for banks. And because of grit, his perseverance, his persistence, no education degrees, no nothing. I have the degrees. He didn't have anything. He had to work hard for everything. And his character also helped him climb up the ladder, and he became a vice president of banks. And he did it with God and just his grit and his perseverance and his integrity and his character. He was always telling me how important it is to think positive and to have a strong mind. He would always tell me, I need you to cultivate a strong mind. Because once you have a strong mind, you're not going to let other people or the outdoor circumstances affect you. But your mind is important asset for everything that you want to achieve in your life. And he would always tell me that in our conversation. And I understand that with his passing, now it's my turn. He lived his life to the fullest, and he died very unexpectedly. But I guess no one's prepared to lose someone, or no one's prepared to die. But I guess in my dad, since he did a lot in his life, like he's clearly, and I'm saying not a lot in terms of work, but in terms of, he never had a family, and I understand that with me and my siblings and my mom, he created the family he wanted. He achieved greatness by being just himself and by always showing respect and showing integrity towards others. And he literally achieved greatness, not only with his family life, but with his career, with the way people still remember him, people that are not even my family, just by being a truly good human being and just being himself, being honest. And in a sense, when he passed away, I said, you know what, now he's not here physically, but now I have to continue that legacy. I want to try to continue that legacy, not only for him, but for me, because he left already. How can I not continue his legacy, or to continue to live my life the way that he would always tell me, like, just live your life. Live your life. You don't need to care about what others are saying or thinking. Just live your life and be proud of who you are. And when he died, I still remember those words. Everything makes sense, because now I'm living my life more to the fullest and appreciating everything that I have. And yes, for me, it's important to have my career goals and to continue growing, but in during that process, we sometimes forget to enjoy life. And my dad favored life to the fullest, and he like drinking, party. He was a life lover. And I want to, not saying that I want to do all those crazy things, but right. I want to enjoy life, like for the people that are not here, that does not have that opportunity, like my dad also, like he died unexpectedly. How can I not continue? And he would always tell me, one of our last conversation was, I don't want you to give up. And not because he told me that, but I can give up. How can I give up when a person like him that went through a lot in his life, in his childhood, when he went through an abusive parent, and he used everything that he went through in his life to succeed and to become a better version of himself. How can I not do that? So for me, living my life in a way that it's that resembles his life with integrity, respect, doing the best that I can with what I have, not rushing the process and becoming more patient, like he would always tell me, is my way to honor him him in everything I do. So, yeah.
I totally understand that because, like I said, we have a lot of similarities in that regard. My father went through the same situation. And it's so funny. My dad went to New York when his mother passed away after he was in school. And when he finished school, he went to New York and he literally was there, met my mom. I had me in the 70s. So I understand it's very similar. And my father did not have the same type of nuclear family. He didn't come from a stable home. His mom was all he had and his brothers. So I understand that in their integrity. Those are very special men. And I can tell, obviously, he definitely imparted a lot of wonderful wisdom on you. And you're doing so amazingly. Truly, my prayers and condolences, because I know it's got to be tough. And Father's Day is always tough. I feel the same way. And it's funny, my dad's birthday was on June the 11th. So I get his birthday and Father's Day all in one fell swoop. And so it's like things learn to be more bearable, but I feel you, like the memories, are definitely there. I definitely think that he's proud of you, but I do have a question to ask you, because obviously, yes, he has imparted a lot of wisdom and everything on you. With where you are right now, what do you think is one thing he would have said to you about where you are in your journey right now?
Keep going. And as long as you keep going, but never forget from where you become, from where you from where you are. Sorry.
Yes. Yes, I totally can understand that. Yes, you have to, because like life is a journey and you're going to have those setbacks and disappointments. And the fact that you are pushing yourself to keep going and still persevere and still be so open to life, that's a beautiful thing. Because I know Father's Day is not easy for anybody who's lost a parent or you don't have a good relationship with your father. And I always tend to say, I feel sorry for people who don't have good memories with their dad, or because those are the things that get you through those dark hours for me. So my next question is, what's one favorite memory that you carry with you and your dad that you don't mind sharing?
It was how every time that I called him all like desperate, and because I'm a little bit stubborn, like he would always like, listen to me, stay calm, like you need to listen to me. And he would always give me like a little Puerto Rican joke. Like he was always making jokes, and I miss that because every time that I call him, he would always talk to me like and give me like a joke, and then he would tell me like, repeat it. And then he was like, oh, that's my daughter. I see, that's my daughter. Repeating the joke with his father. So I miss to have those kind of conversations where just like you would always say something funny just to make me laugh.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. I love those kind of memories. My dad, it's so funny. My dad, I used to have that same kind of connection. I would call my dad every Sunday at 6:00 and we would talk. We just, catch up for the week, see how things were going. He would tell me about music or something that he was cooking. He was my rock for those jokes. So I understand those moments, yes, where you just get them at their best. It's like you have those friend relationships, parent relationships, and it's amazing. I value those too. And those memories hopefully help make it a little bit easier, on the tough days. So I love that. Do you feel like, it sounds to me, and I think I've already answered this, but do you feel like I know your dad would be proud of where you are right now and what you're doing and how you're pursuing anything. Do you feel like there's anything left that you kind of, I'm not going to say regret. Do you feel like there's anything that you would have done differently on your journey coming here?
Actually not. Because
Awesome.
if I haven't come here and take the step to become, I know everything that has happened in my life, even the passing of my dad, has happened for a reason. And I'm just learning through all this whole process now of grieving and just letting me get inserted in this whole process of grieving. But I wouldn't change anything in my life since I moved, because if I wouldn't move from Puerto Rico, I would be probably the same person with the same mentality. And since I moved, I've seen the progress and how I've changed. And sometimes I don't recognize myself. It's like the process of becoming. I'm still in that process of becoming. I feel like 3 points, 3 dots. It's never, I don't think it's never going to end. You're always going to continue improving and learning. And it all started when I moved. And I wouldn't change anything in my journey, because everything has served its purpose in my life. And yeah,
that's absolutely it, because I feel the same way. If I thought about that myself, yes, even with my father passing, I hate to say it, that helped me become more strong, more intentional about myself, about the people I love. It just really brought out a lot of strength in me. I didn't see it at first. So you're a little bit different than I am. I struggled for a hot minute. But at the same time, if I were to look back, I understand that. And I can see that in you and your journey. So with you still in the state of becoming, just like the rest of us, where do you want to go? What do you want to do at this point?
Actually, right now, where the journey takes, I know that I want to continue growing in my career in social media and digital marketing. Nice. So I want to continue growing, and the whole reason I moved to the U.S. is because one of my dreams is to become the VP of a company in that particular field. Nice. Which I'm working towards that, but I'm not rushing the process. Okay. Wherever the journey takes me and God takes me, right now God has me here. I don't know what's going to happen. Wherever the journey and God decides, I'll do it. I remember when I first came from Orlando to take this job that I'm currently working on, I had the job, but did not have a place to live. I lived in a hostel without knowing where I was going to live. And now I'm settled. I have my own apartment, but I think my life since I moved here has become like a trust and belief. Trust in God and me, and wherever the journey takes me, I'll be there. And just not rushing the process, having faith.
Okay, so wait. Let's back up. When you first moved here, you lived in a hostel.
So when I first moved to the U.S., I lived in the student complex in Orlando, right? I moved to a student complex. But then when I finished my degree in Folsom, I started applying to jobs, and I got an interview in Miami. So the boss told me, before we decide, we want you to meet you in person in the office, so you can know the office environment, etc. Were you willing to drive to Miami for the interview? I said, yes, of course. So I drove only for the interview to Miami and went back to Orlando just without knowing what was going to happen. When I went back to Orlando, I got the call that I got the job. So, okay, right. I have a job, but I don't have where to live. So I said, okay, let's figure it out. Doesn't matter. So I packed everything. I put it in my car, and I moved from Orlando. I took the I-95, and I moved it like that. And without knowing where I was going to live, I found a hostel in Miami, and I spent there almost 3 months. I lived in a hostel until I settled and saved for an apartment here in Miami. And I lived with different people that in the same room, just because I wanted to take that opportunity. And
you are amazing. I've stayed in a hostel when I was traveling, and it's not a bad situation. It's not the normal route, but I feel like your route is not normal in that regard. And that's okay. That's not a bad thing. I'm definitely not trying to say it like a bad thing at all, because that again just reaffirms your strength. That reaffirms the fact that you believe in yourself that much, that you are willing to go, ground zero. I'm going to build it when I get there kind of situation. And I admire that tremendously. Wow.
I kind of think my life has, since I moved here to the U.S., has become an adventure. In fact, my life is everything that has happened, everything from the past is literally an adventure. And yes. Also, I don't know, when my dad passed away, I did something crazy. I know it's crazy, but I'm gonna live life to the fullest. So I booked a ticket for skydiving, and I skydive here in Miami, and it's one of the best experiences I recommend to anyone, because it really helps you with your strength. And once you are in the little plane and you're about to jump, everything just changes. And when you're in the free fall moment, you're it's I don't know how to explain it, but it's you're not thinking about anything. Your thoughts, it just your mind goes away. And I don't know how to put it, but you're literally in the moment. It's just an amazing experience. So I did that. I don't know. Everything has become an adventure in my life.
I love that. And life is an adventure. And the fact that you are seizing it like that, I'm not at the skydiving level. No. However, I have all the respect for you jumping out of that plane, especially in Miami with all those skyscrapers. That's a no for me. But I commend you. And I love that. I love the fact that you just went for it. You've jumped completely. Yeah. I like that a lot. So with you having this attitude of jumping and going out there, what do you do to keep yourself constantly engaged? Do you have any practices or daily rituals that you incorporate to keep yourself just ready to just try things and go?
It's very important in the past, I knew that, especially when my dad passed away, I decided to start therapy. And sometimes we have this misconception that therapy is bad or it's for crazy people, but in fact, it's not. And to see the progress that you made and to learn, we're not perfect. We cannot handle everything ourselves, so we sometimes need to ask for help and get that professional guidance and advice. And I've been doing therapy to holistic therapists through telehealth because of the COVID-19, since my dad passed away, and it has helped me to learn and to feel and to validate my emotions, to understand that when they come, yes, we cannot suppress them, but we have to feel them and just let them go, because they're seasons. They're not meant to stay with you. They're meant to, you can feel them, but just let them go. And I was struggling with that even before my dad passed away. So for me, that area in my life, I actually have get to know myself and to truly and get to know the things that I want to do and to enjoy in my life, and to learn how to put boundaries, to learn the importance of practicing self-love and your self-worth. Because if you don't love yourself and value the person who you are, how are you going to expect others to do the same or respect us? If everything starts with us. And I needed to understand that and to learn that even before my dad passed away, we cannot depend on others for approval or likes. We just have, it's our first love should be ourselves, and you actually start to learn also the important things of life. And also that's one of my practices that I do. I'm almost finishing now my therapy session, but I also practice mindfulness. I like also, it really helps me to stay grounded in those days that I feel like, because we're not robots, we're not meant to feel like every time good, and it's okay to feel sad. We need to feel sad, and sometimes we struggle with that in the past. Like, oh, why I'm like feeling sad? I don't need to feel sad. No, so just let them be. Let them come, and that's it. And that helps me a lot. And also practicing gratitude. I'm almost now in my third gratitude journal, but I started journaling in 2019, and that has helped me a lot because every time I write the things that I'm grateful for, it just changes your perspective and how you're looking at things in life. And just when you do that, you're like, oh, I need to, I'm more mindful about the things that we need to be, or I need to be grateful for. And I learned not to compare my journey to others as well. And that's something the gratitude journal, the gratitude journal has helped me with. And that's, for me, that's the therapy, the gratitude journaling, surrounding myself with people that uplift you, that are positive, that are good for you, is very important for me as well. And believe it or not, I do workout classes like 2 days per week, and it helps me when I feel like I'm stressed or that I want to give up or I'm not good enough or like I don't want to continue, because that helps me because it motivates me and pushes me to continue to do it, even though it's hard. And then when you finish that workout class, you feel, you know what, I did it. I held myself accountable. So that also helps me.
I love it. I'm a very big proponent of therapy, and I wish I had gone to therapy sooner when my dad passed away than when I did finally go, because like you, I had challenges before that I wasn't addressing. And unfortunately, grief can just exacerbate it. So you need that extra support to get you through. And the fact that you're so mindful and the fact that you're finding gratitude in the middle of it, that is phenomenal. Because I agree. I think you have to give yourself permission to just feel. That's why I kind of feel like having this conversation is so helpful. It's tough, but it's helpful because it's like we're talking about people that we lost and that we've loved, and we have to feel it and understand it. But the fact is, I'm very grateful that we've connected, two, that we have these moments, these experiences, these memories to get us through when it's hard. So that way you can remember how blessed we really are. And it just keeps propelling you forward. Because yes, I am totally, everything you're saying is in sync with where I am right now with our content for the podcast, because I am on this gratitude journey, this mindfulness journey, this journey of joy. And my next question is, what brings you joy right now? What's one thing bringing you joy right now?
Having the opportunity to wake up every morning and continuing my journey to work hard, not only work, but to enjoy where I'm truly at, and just waking up every morning to continue enjoying where I'm truly at in my life and taking everything one day at a time.
I think that is an amazing process of joy and part to be at right now. Because like I said, your strength is beautiful. So my last and final question that I love to ask all of my podcast guests, so I'm going to ask you too, is what is one thing that you would want my audience to know about you that you have not said yet?
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me like an example?
Sure. So like, is there a secret passion that you have and that you haven't shared with anybody that you kind of might need to put out in the atmosphere to get a little support from? Or if it's, what's the one thing that you tell people about yourself to leave an impression so that they know who you are?
So I do have a secret passion, and sometimes I do it, but the shyness in me like kicks in, and I guess I got that from my dad's side. He was kind of musical, but I do like to sing. And in fact, when I was a little kid, I had like microphones, and I really enjoy to sing, but it's secret passion.
Okay, well, I love that. I love that. And it's so funny. A secret passion of mine, and I never told anyone this, I love to sing too. When I was young, I used to sing in like county choirs. I've auditioned for Broadway shows, but I never talk about it. So again, that's simpatico there, midair. And so you might need to dust that off. Singing is a great thing. I do carpool karaoke right now with my sister. That's about as good as it's getting. But hey, if it brings you joy and it's something that you love, it's a secret passion, gotta bring it to life. So I'm very excited about that. So Stephanie, I love following your content, and you're always so intentional. You take such beautiful pictures of nature. Where can my guests follow you to learn more about your journey?
So you can follow me at Stefania _Rolon. It's spelled STEFANIA _Rolon ROLON.
Okay. And don't worry, I should have prefaced that before, but I'm never always good with that sometimes. I'm going to have your information in my show notes so that way people can connect with you as well, because I think it's really important, especially as we're all trying to navigate life and we're dealing with different challenges, that we connect with really beautiful spirits like yourself. So I really want to say thank you for taking this time to sit down with me and talking to my audience and sharing some of your journey with us. So I really appreciate it.
It's an honor. Thank you for the invitation.
Isn't Stephanie amazing? She is so inspiring for her to be able to just kind of bet on herself like that, while at the same time dealing with such a life-altering tragedy as losing her father. But the one thing, like I said, and not even just the one thing, we connected on so many things. And I do want to thank Stephanie for the time that she spent with me, for the energy that she gave, for sharing her story so openly. That's just a beautiful thing. And she didn't have to do that. So I want to thank her for coming on the podcast. But I also want to make sure that I highlight that that's an example of how you have to keep pressing on and find joy even in the midst of our struggles, and that there is no shame in asking for help. There's healing when you ask for help. She's in therapy, she's intentional, she's doing the work so that she can live her best life, and her father is with her, guiding her along the journey. And my father's with me, and your fathers are with you. If there's anyone out there who's been in that same situation, or you might be in that situation now, it's hard, especially when you have close relationships, to lose your dad. And like I said, the Father's Day is always a tough day for me because I miss my dad so much, but I always feel blessed to know that I feel like I'm doing the things that would have made him smile, that would have made him proud of me. And I talk to him all the time when I'm in doubt or when I come to prayer. I ask him to cover with me and pray for this family and pray for the journey. So I know that our fathers are shining down upon us and they would just want us to keep going. So if you are struggling right now through this holiday, I want you to know that you can keep going and that you're not alone. There are many of us who have been through those circumstances and we understand what it feels like, and we're still healing from it. You don't get over it. You just learn how to tolerate it more. So I am sending love and prayer and healing out to everyone. And like I said, especially to Stephanie, because she is so fresh in the journey, and to anyone else who's on the journey as well. There are great times ahead. Our fathers are shining down upon us, looking down upon us with smiles on their faces today, because they know that we are doing amazing things. And if you need help and support, please don't hesitate to reach out, because I'm always willing to talk to someone who is struggling through that process, because I know how it feels. And I hope this kind of inspired you to remember the great times, but no matter what, to keep going. So I wanted to, again, thank Stephanie for sharing her time. I hope you all enjoyed this week's episode. Just something special, a great conversation with two women talking about how much we loved our fathers and how much their influence has helped propel us through this life. And so next week, I'll be back with a brand new episode. All of Stephanie's information will be in the show notes, so please follow her, check her out. She is definitely a wonderfully intentional person to have, and good content is very important on these social media streets. Along with my information will be there as well. Please like, share, subscribe, review. Your feedback helps me get better, and I definitely want to continue to get better. Like I said, sending love and prayers to everyone this week. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the weekend, and I will talk to you next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye.